everything.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, so let's learn some interesting halachas, and then we have time. We'll come to Bezat Hashem our Gemara. Okay, so two halachas I wanted to share with you today. More interesting, and one is very halacha lemaisa, and one is just an interesting halacha to know. What is the Dutch minhag on Friday night to make Kiddush and Hamoitzi? Kiddush and Hamoitzi on Friday night. Some people wash before Kiddush, some wash after.
Yeah, sure, after.
What do you do?
Between.
Between? That's you're not really Dutch.
I make Kiddush and then we wash and then we Hamoitzi.
But that's
I know. I was once at Van Dijk. They wash before the Kiddush.
I know, but I thought the Dutch minhag is to wash before.
The normal Dutch minhag, I think so. The Dutch minhag. So I saw it at home to make Kiddush, to wash, and to make
okay. Mr. Van Praag, what do you do?
I don't think it is a minhag.
It's halacha?
No, neither. No, it is just what people like to do. When you have a room full of people, it's much easier to wash before the Kiddush. And when you have
a practical reason.
Wash after the Kiddush and before Mautzi, no problem. But there's no minhag. There is no minhag.
Yeah, but without, let's say you're by yourself.
Your own minhag, is it?
But let's say you're by yourself. So there's no practical reason. What would you do?
I wash after Kiddush, before Mautzi.
Nah, okay, but why don't you wash before Mautzi, before Kiddush?
Why should I? I can't talk anymore.
Because you want to talk.
I sit down immediately after the Kiddush and I have to make Mautzi, because when I would talk before making Mautzi, before eating, I have to wash again. That's the point.
Okay, and if you're by yourself?
No, I don't talk to myself, I'm sorry.
I know, so then you can wash before Kiddush.
Well, I could wash before Kiddush. Normally wash after Kiddush and before eating.
Okay, that's funny because I thought
before is a practical reasons, only practical. Normally, I think the people I know do it between after the Kiddush.
I tell you, only I saw it at Van Dijk.
It's funny because I don't know why. I thought that the Dutch minhag was to wash before.
No.
Explain
I
to
think
you.
Everybody do it between.
The risk is that you start talking immediately after Kiddush when you have said the brocha, and then you have to do it again. So what's the
I know, but I am. Depends how you brought up. I was brought up at home that we washed before Kiddush.
Okay.
So I'm used to not talking before. So it depends what you're used to. That's all.
How many people were in the room then?
The whole family, and if we had guests, then they either the guests themselves washed between, or they followed us and they washed before.
Okay, but how many people? How many persons?
5, 10, 15, depends.
Yeah, okay. Then when it's difficult to walk around the table, etc., then you start talking. Sorry, sir, I just step on your foot.
Excuse me, can I pass by?
Yeah, I know, but here's something very interesting.
Where's the towel?
But let me ask you a question. Here we have Friday night where we have a Kiddush and a Hamoitzi. When you're washing your hands, you're not washing your hands for Kiddush, you're washing your hands for Hamoitzi. So really,
you can wash your hands normal, but before eating. We also for Kiddush, normal.
Well, you never wash your hands for Kiddush.
Not with the becher, but normal.
I know, but
that I do also.
You use the becher to wash your hands.
First, I wash normal, and then I wash religious. So,
why do you wash before Kiddush?
There might be another reason to wash after Kiddush, because when you would get used to the fact that you are washing before Kiddush, you might think that it's not necessary to make mautzi when you eat bread or something like that. So when you make only the Kiddush, like after shul, and you start to eat something else but no bread, then you don't wash. But when you are used to wash before Kiddush, you might do so as well after shul, for instance.
I might wash in shul or I might wash
after shul. So before the Kiddush, after shul, on the way to the Kiddush room. when you are used to wash before Kiddush, always, and you don't make mautzi, then you might think that you have to wash after Kiddush. That's it.
You might think that the Netilas Yadayim is going on the Kiddush.
Yes.
The Kiddush is bezoindes.
So you have, I know, but if you're having I never made that mistake yet.
No, neither did I, but it's just a theoretical possibility because it's all theoretical. But what I say is you have to wash before eating the bread. So we're breaking the bread and eating the bread. It's connected to the bread and not to the Kiddush, unless you don't have any bread. For instance, but you have to have bread, but even on Yom Tov.
But let me ask you a question. If you say that if you have 20 guests or you have a big meal, then it's more practical to wash before Kiddush, then how does practicality come before what the bracha is? If the bracha is going on the Hamoitzi, how can you say for practical reasons I'm going to wash before Kiddush?
Oh yes, I will explain to you. Seder night. We had Seder nights with 20 to 30 people in the room. And then after we make Kiddush before eating. A huge time before eating. We make Kiddush. We don't wash before the Kiddush. The only person who is washing his hands is the king of the Seder, the person who is giving the Seder, who is leading the Seder night. And you start washing after the first part of the Seder. And then we bring the water with the cup, etc., and the towel in the room. And we let the persons wash on their places so that nobody has to move.
But 1 second. But that washing.
But they say the evening, but the normal dinner, a Friday evening dinner.
Yeah, the Seder night urchatz that you wash, Kaddish urchatz. That urchatz is not for Hamoitzi. The Hamoitzi that we do for the matzah.
Correct. That is only for the person who is leading the Seder.
The Seder.
When you start eating, when you're starting with the meal, everyone has to wash.
Okay, but I'm asking you on a normal Friday night. You're saying for convenience, you would wash before Kiddush. If the Netilas Yadayim is for Hamoitzi, why can you do something which is not the halacha just for convenience?
Well, I don't prefer to do it, but sometimes it's more easy.
I understand it's easier, but if Netilas Yadayim is for Hamoitzi, let's say it's easier for me. I'm going to have supper. I'm going to have a sandwich at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's easier for me to wash 11 o'clock in the morning. I can't wash 2 hours.
Even we did it when we had in the past Friday evening dinner in the JCC or somewhere else. First we make Kiddush and then the 100 people go wash.
Oh, but if you say for convenience, you can wash before, you can't just do something which is not right for convenience. If I'm having sandwiches on a normal day for my lunch at 1 o'clock, it's more convenient for me to wash at 12. Does that work?
Then you can talk 1 hour.
Yeah, but I'm gonna have
you do it 12 and you eat it 1. Oh, that's fine.
You eat it 1. It's more convenient for me to wash.
Nice.
You can't do something.
Before 1 hour before the children.
So obviously Friday night, because the Kiddush is a part of the Kiddush has to be b'mokim Suda, the Kiddush on the Friday night is connected to the meal. You're supposed to start off your meal with a Kiddush. So therefore, there it's not just for convenience. Therefore, you're allowed to wash the Netilas Yadayim before you make Kiddush because the Kiddush is a part of the Suda, even though you're going to only have the Hamoitzi after the Kiddush. But it's a very interesting halacha, which I learned recently, and then let me share this with you. What usually happens is the person who's making hamoitzi, because you had Kiddush and you're making hamoitzi. So one person who makes hamoitzi, and he's moitzi everyone who's by the table with lechem mishnah. So one says, everyone says amen, and then he gives a piece of challah to everyone who's at the table, right? Now, does everyone make their own hamoitzi when they get their piece of challah, or the yotzef?
No.
Why not?
Because your yotzef is your broche.
Oh, why are you yotzef?
Who makes? I said, "This is your home." You make mochi. You make mochi, and everybody is yotzef is your broche.
Very good. Why can't everyone make their own hamoitzi?
I can't. Because
what?
They don't have lechem mishneh.
Oh, that's the
Oh,
reason.
yeah,
Because
they
You
can
could,
have.
arrange it, but normally
You can arrange everybody lechem mishneh.
you can arrange. That's why when you go sometimes to Simcha, so you go to a hotel, everyone has their own lechem mishneh. But a normal,
Everybody has. Yeah.
everyone's yotza from the Bal Habayis is lechem mishneh, because on Shabbos you're supposed to make hamoitzi on lechem mishneh to remember the mon that fell on Friday. It fell down double. So we make hamoitzi on Friday night and Shabbos with lechem mishneh, and therefore I am moitzi all the people around the table, and they have challah from my brocha. Now, interesting question. What would you say? I make hamoitzi. Let's say I am the balabais. I make hamoitzi. Baruch atah Hashem lekinu melech hamoitzi lechem haaretz. I have a piece of challah, and now before someone at the table has his piece of challah, he's mafsik. He speaks. He says, "Good Shabbos." He says, "How are you? What's news?" Does he still make a hamoitzi, or he still yotze with my hamoitzi?
I think he's yotze because he only has to eat. He don't. He says "Amen" and he can eat.
But what's he? Oh, so what's he yotze from? He's yotze from my brocha.
It's yotze with your brocha.
So, but if my brocha is as if he's saying it, how can he be mafsik? If let's say me, I make Baruch atah Hashem lekinu melech hamoitzi lechem haaretz, and then before I have a challah, I say, "Good Shabbos, everyone. Welcome to the table. What's news? How's everything?" And then is that a hefsek?
Oh, that is not nice. You have first to give all the people a piece of challah.
No, but let's say no, no. Me, I make hamoitzi. I say Baruch atah
Yeah, I
Hashem,
know.
and then before I eat, I am mafsik.
No. You have
And
to eat.
that's why
you
you
say the
always-
brocha and you have to eat.
That's why you always have to make hamotzi when you are eating bread, whether or not you have lechem mishneh, because during the week you always
Yeah.
make.
Always. Yeah. If you have lunch with a normal boterham.
Why? And that's why I personally, but I don't know whether there's a halacha or what else. I always make my own brocha hamotzi when I eat something from a piece of lechem mishneh which is being presented to me, because I don't know what the guy in question is doing in between. Whether he
So if you go somewhere and you are a guest, and the balabais makes hamoitzi,
yes,
and he gives you a piece of challah, you make your own hamoitzi?
yes.
Oh,
Good.
Paul, you do, Mr. Yaakov, you do?
No, I don't do. I'm yotze with the balabais.
No, but you don't know what he is doing in between.
That I learned.
Question.
Sorry.
Yeah, good. That's your question. Yeah, when the guy who is making the brocha starts talking before eating, you can even say he had made a brocha out of a tole because he didn't eat.
Oh,
Okay, that is something else. But if he makes a brocha and he eats and then he distributes to the other people a piece of bread,
To make him up.
okay.
But when you are on a
He's
distance,
not allowed to speak before he's eating. The balabais.
no, of course not.
no, he's
No.
not. So exactly. So let's say, Mr. Van Praag, I am a guest by someone, and I can see, or you're a guest, and you can see the balabais made hamoitzi, had a piece of challah. So
Yes.
you can see he was not mafsik.
No,
Would you still make your own hamoitzi?
no, because he did it right.
Ah, okay. So you're saying like this: if I see that the balabais did it wrong, he was mafsik, then you make your own hamoitzi.
Something else.
Okay, that's something else. That's something else. But if you know for sure that he wasn't mafsik, then you're yotze with his brocha.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
but let's.
but I think then you have to get your own lechem mishneh, because his brocha is a brocha vatore.
That's for him, but not for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so this is our question. If he made
No,
a brocha
no.
and he was mafsik, he made the brocha on lechem mishneh. He had two
Yeah,
breads.
but
and he made lechem mishneh.
then he talked before he's eating. No,
Oh, so he was mafsik. So his brocha now falls away.
Yes.
So I have nothing.
His brocha is nothing worth.
Oh, so b'pashtus, I can't be yotze his hamoitzi.
This is his brocha if he don't do the thing what he have to do.
Oh, correct. Yeah, exactly. I can't be yotze from him if he did it wrong. Okay, then I agree with you. But I'm asking you now the other way around. He did it right, and I did it wrong. That means the balabais made hamoitzi and was not mafsik. I did it wrong. I was mafsik. So my hamoitzi was from him. But I spoke between my hamoitzi and my bracha. Am I yotze?
No, you have to wash again.
Oh, let's say even a better case.
You have to wash again. When you start talking before eating, after the brocha, you have to wash again.
Okay, so
No.
you're saying
He's meaning, I think he's meaning, you're the balabais, you make your brocha, you're eating, and the guest is already speaking before he's eating. That is
Yes.
that
yes.
is his problem, because he say omein on your brocha.
So the guest.
And
So
maybe,
does the guest?
the eating is the second thing. It's not
So does the
important, but not so.
It is connected to each other, like we
It's
had.
connected to.
Because see the content of the brocha. Hamotzi lechem in horen. So when you don't eat, when you only say the brocha, you can say you want, but you didn't take the action. The action is to eat the lechem.
Yeah.
So here I have like a balance. I have a middle. His bracha was okay because the balabayas did the bracha well, and the balabayas didn't speak in between. So his bracha,
and I make the fault.
and the one who's exactly the guest is making the fault. The guest is making the fault. So I have a good bracha in the air, which I was mafsik before I ate. So let's say I make hamaitzi myself during not Shabbos.
Yes, and you distribute. You do your job. You give everybody a piece of bread, but one of the guests speaking already.
Or I ask you even better. I'm not the guest. I'm not Shabbos. Today on Wednesday, I take a bread. I say for myself. I say and before I eat, I am mafsik.
So you talk.
Yeah.
Then you have to wash again and to make the brochen again.
Yeah.
So I can't.
On the tilas yadayim and on outzi.
Okay, very good. But in my question is Friday night. I am a guest. I spoke between the hamaitzi and but I didn't make hamaitzi. I was here to the hamaitzi from someone else, and his hamaitzi was good because he wasn't mafsik. Says the Ramah in Shulchan Aruch. If you look it up in Kuf Samach Zayin 167, he brings down the Ramah that it's okay. Some argue.
I can speak if I'm on your table. I can speak.
Not that you can. No. Not that you can speak. If
I'm
no, you can't speak. The Ramah doesn't say go have a shoes and find out what's news. No.
Speak as much as possible. Yes. Okay.
No. Ramah says very clearly. If you spoke and you are a guest, and the Bal Habayis made a good hamaitzi, and the Bal Habayis ate, so his hamaitzi is good.
On the broch, the guest.
And you said, Omein, everything was okay. And now I was a guest and I spoke. I don't need to wash again. I can still use the hamaitzi from the Bal Habayis because that bracha was a good bracha.
Was a good brocha and accepted because I say Omein of this brocha.
Because you said Omein and he wasn't mafsik, so everything of him was good, and I'm yoitza with his bracha, and then even though I spoke, I don't need to wash again. I can, but some argue with the Ramah. The Ramah himself in Kuf Samach Zayin, you can look it up 167. He says that I am yoitza even if I spoke. Now, obviously, the reason for that is that since the Balabayas' bracha was good. Even though I spoke in between, I still have a good bracha, which I'm yotza from. But let me ask you a question. You have to go probably soon, but I want to finish this off.
I can wait a little bit.
You can wait a minute. Okay.
I like to so can wait a little bit.
Okay. I was, some time ago, I was in a shul, not here in England, and a guy came up to me and said to me before Shachris, I'm not sure if I made the bracha on my tefillin. He wasn't sure.
Then
So he said,
"Can I be the same? I don't say Mashiach Ruach or Talamota or sometimes
sure.
you say, do I say it or do I don't say it?"
I know. So sometimes you have people who have more nerven, not sure whether they did or didn't. Some people are like the whole time not sure if they did or didn't, and some people, yeah, it's always okay. But the halacha is by Mashiach Ruach. If you're not sure and it's within the first 30 days, go back again. But this guy came to me before Shacharis and he said to me, I wasn't sure if I made a bracha on my tefillin. Or no, he said to me like this. He was still putting on his tefillin. I'm not sure why. He had a suffix whether he needs to make a bracha on his tefillin. So I said, fine, no problem. I'm making a bracha on my tefillin. I'll be moitzi you. So I made the bracha on my tefillin. And he said amen on my bracha, and he put on his tefillin with my bracha. Now, the halacha is there. What happens if he is mafsik between my bracha on tefillin and him putting on tefillin? Let's say I'm moitzi him, I'm putting on tefillin. And now he is mafsik, he starts talking to someone, and then he wants to put on his tefillin. Does that work?
No.
No.
But the question is not correct, because you said someone is coming to you before Shacharit. When someone is coming to you,
when he make, he put on the tefillin.
He put on tefillin. He was mafsik in between.
No, before
mafsik between my bracha and
he cannot put no. I'm sorry. He cannot put on tefillin without saying anything and then start Shacharit. That's impossible. You have to say something.
Well, okay, so he said something, but he said Berachas HaTorah. The problem isn't whether he said Moedani or Berachas HaTorah or Lekana Shoma. He said that. Now he's putting on tefillin. The whole question is he's being yoitza tefillin from my bracha. So I was moitzi him. It's a true story. I'm moitzi him with my bracha, and now I'm asking you if he would be mafsik between my bracha and him putting on tefillin. So I made the bracha. I put on tefillin. My bracha is good. He puts on tefillin from my bracha, but he was mafsik between me being moitzi him and him putting on tefillin.
Listen, I can tell you here, the chazan say the brachas
loud,
clear, loud.
Yeah.
No, then nobody has to say and everybody say amen.
Okay,
then
so the chazan, when the chazan is making the bracha loud, why is the chazan making the bracha loud? Just to be able to answer amen. He's not being moitzi you.
Yeah, okay. But I think it's the same. If he put on his tefillin, or you put on his tefillin, and I say amen on that broche, then I'm Joodse.
So you're saying
don't do it.
Okay, so you're saying even if he was mafsik, I said to him, I made the bracha, lo niach tefillin, and he was mafsik, he can still be Joodse with my bracha.
Yeah, and you hear the man behind me or next to me say also the bracha, you hear it, and you have also to say amen on his bracha.
Okay, if I make amen on his bracha, that's because every time I answer amen, it's good.
But the chazan is the shliach tzibur, he is for the community. He say the bracha loud.
Okay, what would you do, Mr. Jacobs, if you walk into shul and you hear the chazan saying lo niach tefillin? Would you be yoitz?
I say amen, but I put on my tefillin.
You put on your own, right? Okay, so you always say amen when you hear bracha, but not always when you hear bracha and you say amen. Does that mean that you're yoitz with his bracha?
No, but yeah, in the conversation, I think it is about the same. Because he say always the bracha is loud for the community.
Okay, but there's a difference between saying the bracha is loud and answering amen, and then being yoitz with someone else's bracha.
Yeah.
So if I was being moitzi you, let's say clearly you're not sure whether you need to make a bracha on your tefillin, and I'm being moitzi you with tefillin, and you would say amen, you would be, if you were mafsik between my bracha and you putting on, you would still put on afterwards.
Yeah.
So you're saying basically tefillin is the same as hamoitzi.
Yeah. Also, yeah.
So it's the same way as you're saying. If I make hamoitzi and the guest speaks in between, then we see the Ramah says that it's okay. He doesn't need to wash again since the bracha was a good bracha from the balabayas. So you're saying the same about tefillin. If the bracha of the balat tefillin was good, even though you didn't put on and you're going to be mafsik in between, you're saying it's okay. But what's the interesting thing is to know is like this. There's different types of brachas. There's a bracha called brachas ha-mitzvahs, and there's a bracha called brachas ha-ne'enin. What's the difference? One is called a bracha before you enjoy something. Either you smell something or you eat something. That's a nanin. Hananin means you're having hanoho, benefit, enjoyment. That's brachas hananin. Brachas ha-mitzvahs is nothing to do with enjoyment. If I'm doing a mitzvah, you make a bracha. If I put on tefillin, it's not a brachas hananin. It's a brachas ha-mitzvahs. I'm about to do a mitzvah of tefillin, I make a bracha. Now, when I'm eating a piece of bread, that's called the brachas hananin. I'm about to eat something, I make a bracha before I eat it. Even though maybe on Friday night it's a mitzvah to eat, but the bracha of hamoitzi is a brachas hananin. So therefore, if I make a bracha on Friday night on my bread, I am making a brachas hananin. So if I made a bracha and I ate, my bracha was 100% perfect. It was good. And when someone else hears my bracha by the table, he is yoitza with my bracha. That's called shomea ka'ona. He hears my bracha and he's yoitza for my bracha. So even though he spoke in between, but since my bracha was 100% perfect, he's yoitza. According to the Ramah. If I make a brachas ha-mitzvahs, how can I be moitzi you with the brachas ha-mitzvahs? Because there's something what we called arvus. Have you heard of arvus? Arvus means one Jew is connected to another Jew. If I do a bracha, if I'm doing a mitzvah, my mitzvah is connected to his mitzvah. Mitzvahs are connected. My mitzvahs and your mitzvahs are connected. So if I make a bracha on tefillin, how can I be moitzi you also? It's not the same as making a bracha on a piece of cake. It's my mitzvah and your mitzvah are connected. So therefore, if you want to be moitzi or be yoitza with my bracha, the only way that it's working is because of arvus. Arvus means that I'm making a bracha and you're yoitza with my bracha, because my bracha, if you spoke in between, then you're being mafsik as if you are making the bracha yourself. So by a brachas ha-mitzvahs, it's more strict than by a brachas ha-ne'enin. Let's say us two are together, yeah? You want to make a mezainos or shehakol. I used to have a guy in yeshiva who always wasn't sure whether he needed to make a bracha or not. So he said to me, can you be moitzi me? Like one of these had very bad nervin. No nervin is? His nerves were very always not sure. I'm not sure if I made a amechi, I'm not sure if I made a shehakol, I'm not sure if I moitzi me. Fine, no problem. So when I moitzi him, how does that work? He hears my bracha, and it's the same as if he made the bracha. He's yotze with my bracha. I make a bracha, and he's yotze with that. That's nothing got to do with arvus. That's not because my mitzvah and your mitzvah is connected. If I made a bracha and you hear a good bracha, you're yotze with the same thing. So if my bracha is perfect, even though you spoke, you're yotze with a perfect bracha. By mitzvahs, it's as if you are doing the bracha yourself. And if you speak in between, then you're mafsik within your own bracha. It's just an interesting thing to know the difference between the brachas hananin. So let's go back to our Friday night. Friday night, if I am the one who's making hamoitzi and I give out bread to all the guests, if I am the balabayas and I made a bracha and I was not mafsik, even if one of the guests was mafsik, according to the Ramah, he doesn't need to wash again. Why? Because he heard an hamoitzi which was perfect. So that's an interesting halacha to know. Okay.
That's very interesting. I'm sorry, I told you I was only 10 minutes, but I have to. Yeah, I did.
Okay, you ready?
Okay.
No problem. No problem. Take care. All the best. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Liefmeten.
Gaat afsluiten nu?
Nee, ik ga niet afsluiten. Ik ga er alleen uit. Jullie zijn toch gewoon nog binnen?
Ja,
ik ben nog binnen, ja.
Oké.
Ik doe mijne gewoon uit. En of die door smoest, dat maakt ook niet uit. Ben er toch niet.
Ja.
Oké.
Anders sluit ik jullie allemaal af. En dat kan niet. Dus hij smoest gewoon door als ik er niet ben. Ik moet ook weg.
Okay, very good. So who do we have over here? We have still a few more. Okay, just to so we have Mr. Solomon, Mr. Brach, and Mr. Solomon. iPad van Robert, I see it. That's you. Okay. Just a small question, and then we go back to our Gemara. I have. Is everyone there? Mr. Solomon.
I have one question.
Yeah.
If the bracha is connecting only by food, or if you put on the ner, the candle, because the candle is separated or not?
What do you mean? If I make a bracha for Friday night for the candles?
No, I mean all over around. I mean, it's if you make a bracha when you're eating together, then they are connected. What is what you're saying? But if you put on a ner, a candle, then it is personal or not, because you not can share it. Like a tefillin, you cannot share it.
I'm not clearly questioning you. Which type of candle are you referring to? A candle of a mitzvah of lighting on Shabbos?
No, just a regular candle. But when I put on a candle, then I make always a bracha on it. But I make it before I set up the candle. But
which bracha do you make when you put on the candle? When on Friday night, on Motzei Shabbat?
No, yes, daily, because I put on candles daily, because you have to put on a candle in the living room and the room where you're cooking. That is normal.
But there's no need to make a bracha on that. The only time you make a bracha on the candle is by Havdalah on Motzei Shabbat, and when you're lighting the candles for Shabbat. If you put on a candle,
right.
if you put on a candle now, because at 10 to 12 on Wednesday afternoon, there's no bracha.
All right. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So no bracha.
So if you turn on the candle, you don't have to say a bracha.
No, correct.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Exception of what?
Havdalah.
Yeah, that's what I said. Exception of Havdalah on Friday night, and Hanukkah when you light the menorah, or when you are lighting the candles for Shabbos or for Yom Tov or Yom Kippur. That's when you make a bracha. If you light any candle during the week, and even if you're lighting a candle for a Ner Neshama, you also don't make a bracha. There's no bracha that you make, only when there's a mitzvah. And the mitzvah, so if you put on a candle, it's a very nice thing to put on a candle in the room. It might be very romantic, or you might like even if you're lighting a candle for a birthday cake.
Right.
It's a beautiful thing to make a birthday party, and especially a birthday cake and all the candles on the top. But
I have learned that in the living room you should always have a candle on it, and in the kitchen if it is separated.
That might be something connected to Yom Kippur. That's nothing got to do with daily. Nothing got to do. Okay. Yeah, that might be a Yom Kippur thing. Nothing got to do with daily. On Yom Kippur, they're supposed to have a candle in the house, and you make a bracha when you're lighting the candles for Yom Kippur, not necessarily the candle of the Ner Neshama. But lighting a candle in your house on a normal weekday day, there is no bracha whatsoever.
Okay, Kentov.
You might enjoy it and like it, but no bracha.
Okay.
But it's always good to say thank you, Hashem, for the beautiful light that you give us and everything like that. But thank yous you can always say. But when you're saying a bracha, when you're saying it b'shem u'malchut, means you're saying the name of God, and with that, then you can only do that if you're obligated or you're doing a mitzvah. If you are not doing anything, then there's no bracha whatsoever. So going back to saying a bracha, and you are listening to my bracha. If I want to make a mezonot, and let's say you're not sure how to make the bracha, I can make the bracha, eat something, and you can listen to my bracha, and you are good to go. That's something called amoitziu, shomea ko'ona. You hear my bracha, and with that, you're good to go.
But then you are connected.
But what I was saying before, there's actually two levels. There's connected through a mitzvah, and there's connected through a regular bracha. If I eat a piece of cake, I'm not doing a mitzvah.
Okay.
You might be looking after your body and healthy. I'm not sure if cake is good for you, but if you, but it's not something which is a mitzvah. And of course, you have to live. If you don't eat, you'll die. That's
No.
not a regular piece of cake or cookie or candy or apple. It is not a mitzvah. Maybe doing exercise is more of a mitzvah because it's ushmartem ma'od nafshotechem. You have to look after your body.
Right, correct.
It's an obligation for every person to take care of themselves. You are not allowed to do whatever you want to yourself. It's something you have to look after. So your body is something which has to be looked after. It's going to be returned one day. And all the time that your body is alive in this world, you are obligated as the owner of your body to take care of yourself.
Correct.
So by eating, even though you're doing the right thing, looking after yourself, but there's no mitzvah in putting food in your mouth. So if I eat a piece of cake and you are listening to my bracha, you're not listening to a bracha of a mitzvah, you're listening to a bracha of what we call hane'enin, enjoyment. And by a hane'enin, a bracha of enjoyment, I can make the bracha. If my bracha it works for you too. There's something which we call the brichat ha-mitzvah. The brichat ha-mitzvah means I'm doing a mitzvah and you are also obligated to do a mitzvah because there's a connection called aravut. Aravut. Ayin resh beis vav taf. It's a word which means we are all joined. One Jew is connected to another Jew. My mitzvah and your mitzvah have the same destination, have the same goal, have the same reasoning. So it connects.
It's same during the minyan.
So minyan also. Minyan means because we need to have 10 people in order to do a davar shebekdusha. But even if we don't have 10 people, I'm doing a regular mitzvah. If I want to make kiddush, I can be mitzvah you kiddush. My mitzvah and your mitzvah are the same way as I'm obligated to do my mitzvah. I'm obligated to help you do yours.
Right, correct.
But when it comes to eating a cookie, I'm not obligated to make sure you eat cookies.
Okay, no, of course. Yeah.
You know, I'm obligated to make sure I look after myself. But for you to eat a cookie is not my obligation.
Right,
so therefore,
correct.
the bracha on a cookie, which I can be moitzi you, is different to the bracha on a mitzvah, which is a bracha for something which I am anyway obligated to help you fulfill.
Okay, but how is the situation now? We're sitting on Zoom, for example. I take a cookie, you take a cookie. Yeah, we can see each other, and then you make a bracha if we are connected then or not.
No, I don't think so. I think Mr. Van Pracht agrees that Zoom is a very good way to, like the same way as we cannot make a minyan, 10 people at home through Zoom.
But in fact, I don't agree because it is very much a pity that when people cannot or are not allowed to go to a minyan, a physical minyan, and they have, for instance, yahrzeit, that they cannot say Kaddish in a minyan of at least 10 men on the Zoom. I think that is a very bad situation. I hope that some Rabbonim will allow that because it would easy up the life of a lot of people much more.
100%. And but unfortunately, the reason why we have to have 10 people is because where does the idea of 10 people come from?
Under one roof.
Under one roof, exactly. So 10 people together, 10 Jewish men together, there's something what we call is kedusha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, "V'nikdashti." My kedusha sits upon an area where there's 10 people together. Now, if one's sitting in South Africa, one's in Australia, one is in Amsterdam, and one is in London, and one is in Hawaii, the other one in Los Angeles, the other one in Finland and Iceland, then it's great that you can connect with today's communication systems.
Yet there was a direct stream from the Rus synagogue during Echo, for instance, and there was also the next day a direct stream from South Africa about the keynote where more than 2,000 people participated. Me too. And I have to tell you, that made a very, 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 very big impression on me, because then you see that a lot of people are using the modern possibilities to participate, to feel connected, and to say their tefillahs together with other people.
It's a beautiful opportunity. It's something which we're very, very lucky to be living in times that we have these communication systems, and you can put on your computer and you can feel connected.
Yes.
You can see what's going on. That's one thing. But there's another thing about the 10 people not being together, and therefore I am saying Kaddish in my room, and something like a Baruch Hu or something like a Kaddish needs to have 10 people together, where the Kedusha of God is together. Unfortunately, if we're not together, then it's part of the challenge of this new virus, which is separating everyone.
But there was also a moment that you can make under one roof. But if you're standing in front of the hotel, you're not under one roof.
Yeah,
on the
one roof.
open air.
Yeah, one roof doesn't mean literally a roof. It means in one area.
Okay, one area. Because there was a minyan at that time live on the hotel, and I joined it. And it was regular because by the Rabbi in Jerusalem.
Okay.
Because of the corona, they changed the rules a little bit. So you don't have to be in one area. You can also do in digital by Zoom, that they are allowed.
But I doubt it that they allowed that if there wasn't in one place 10 people. What happened was, if you're saying a Kaddish or Dava Shebekdusha, which is Baruch Hu or Kaddish or certain things, then it has to start off with 10 people together. Once you have 10 people together, then they can say the Baruch Hu and the Kaddish and the whole davening together. And when I join in to someone else's davening, I can watch a tefillah which is taking place in the right way. But if nowhere there's 10 people, you have 10 people on Zoom and there's no minyan in one place, then that's not going to help in terms of being able to do a davar shebekdusha. You might feel connected, but physically it's not.
But if you are in an open area and everybody's standing, for example, in Israel, Jerusalem and on the balcony, you can see each other, and then you can make a minyan, I think so.
So seeing each other and hearing each other live is different than seeing each other over the computer.
Right, correct.
It might be if I see you now on my screen, it's great to be able to see you, but but it doesn't mean that we are next to each other. It means that we feel connected. It doesn't mean that we're in any way next to each other. The fact that one feels close because you can see each other on the screen doesn't mean that you are close.
Okay, I understand.
Paul,
Paul Jacobs.
microfoon uitmaken. Paul.
Nee, het klopt, ja. Ik moest even, ik was eventjes in paniek. Maar het klopt wel. Ik ben gewoon om 9:30.
And I know maybe what we can do is that we could mute him. Can we mute him?
No, you are not the host, so you're not cannot can do anything. If Jacobs make you host.
Where are you located?
In The Hague on the moment.
In The Hague. You see, so I can look at you on the screen. I don't know if you're in the house next to me or you're in Australia.
Okay, correct. That's good.
It's quite difficult to be able to use each other for a minute. I don't even know where you are.
Right, correct.
I know that Mr. Mabrach is around the corner. So that feels a little bit more close.
Okay.
But the one is.
One moment, Max. Can je bellen naar Jacobs dat zijn microfoon aanstaat of niet?
Ik heb het al geprobeerd hem duidelijk te maken, maar ik denk die.
Oké.
Ja, maar dat hoor je van. Ja?
Oh. Jacobs is aan de telefoon.
Oké.
Ik zal hem bellen.
Ja, graag, Max. Max is make a phone call to Jacobs to turn off his microphone.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so you live in The Hague. Do you ever come to Amsterdam?
Sometimes, but I have to tell you, I have cancer on the moment.
Oh no.
So my treatment is for 6 periods has done. So now I'm now in an surviving mode, and that's the reason why I cannot travel, because I'm too tired of the medicines. The medicines that you get from.
You look good.
Thank you very much.
No, you look
Oh, that's
healthy.
Paul.
Looking at the phone.
Okay. All right. Max. Paul heeft hem al uitgezet. Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Keep going.
Okay, very good. Okay, my question to you is, we have 10 minutes or less. Do you prefer that we go to our Gemara Baba Kama or another interesting question?
Extra
No,
question.
I don't have a question.
Mr. Mabrach?
No, you have an extra question.
I have another extra question. Okay. I tell you what, we have a neighbor on my street.
Right.
I live on Blindbeek. You know what Blindbeek is?
Yeah.
Blindbeek. Blindbeek is off the Van Boschhausenstraat.
Yes.
It's very close to 1 or 2 streets before the end of the big roundabout. Okay, so if you know family Scotland, they live on the same street.
I'm back.
There's a few other Eden on my street. And if you walk down my street, I've done it obviously many times. We have quite a few mezuzot on the doors. And then when it comes to Hanukkah, all of a sudden you see sometimes some menorahs come to the window. And what's interesting is, my street, first of all, we have a house that has the menorah without the mezuzah. That means Hanukkah comes the menorah and there's no mezuzah by the front door. Okay, so they do the mitzvah of Hanukkah, but they didn't do the mitzvah of mezuzah. And then we have another house that has the mezuzah without the menorah. Okay, we have all types. And then we have what we call the Kratzmach lights that come up also this time of the year. Some of them have the houses with the lights and the menorah, some of them are without the lights. We have all types, all sorts. Now we have one of the houses that has the menorah, has the mezuzah, and my wife is friendly with the mother of that house. So I thought they were Jewish, and we were speaking to them, and actually they are not Jewish at all.
But they have a mezuzah.
They have a mezuzah. Yeah. So my wife asked them, what's the mezuzah all about? You know that thing that you have on your door is a very Jewish sign. Quite Jewish looking. You don't usually get the mezuzah on the front door. Even if someone's Jewish, he hasn't got mezuzah sometimes. Definitely not someone who's not Jewish to have a mezuzah. It's very, very rare. So my wife said to her, how come you have a mezuzah on your front door? So she said that we bought the house from a Jewish owner, and the Jewish owner didn't take the mezuzah with her. So she left the mezuzah on the door.
They are not allowed to take it off.
You're supposed to, if you are leaving your home for another Jew, then you leave them on. Not supposed to just take off your mezuzah, because we want the mezuzah to stay on for the next person, and they should replace it with their own mezuzahs and then give them back to you. But
all right.
Yeah. But if you are selling your house to an un-Jew and you are Jewish, then you should be taking your mezuzahs off. But this Jewish owner, for some reason or other, perhaps took off some mezuzahs from inside the house, but the mezuzah on the front door she left on.
But this then secular Jew, because he's still Jew.
No, the one that has the mezuzah on now is not secular at all, not Jewish at all.
But if they are born as a Jew, then they are Jewish.
If they were born Jewish, but the owner was a Jewish person who had the mezuzah and then sold the house to a non-Jew.
Ah, okay. Now I understand.
Are they Sabbatists?
No, no, not even Sabbatists. They are nothing whatsoever got to do with Judaism.
Right. But then you talk about the religion. And
no, they're not religious. They're nothing. They happen to have the mezuzah on the front door and they never took it off because the previous owner was Jewish, and the previous owner didn't take it off. Right. Now, what would you advise? There's a few options over here. There's option number one is just to leave it. not your problem. Option number 2 is to try and have it taken down, because to have a mezuzah on for non-Jewish house perhaps is a little bit of an embarrassment to the mitzvah of mezuzah. Don't forget, in that mezuzah we have written very holy parashiyot of the Shema and V'hoyom Shemoya, and to have that on a house which has nothing to do with Judaism perhaps is a embarrassment for the mezuzah. And caring about the mezuzah, perhaps I should care and ask whether I could have it. Oh, I had another idea. You know, my other idea was?
They can
To take
become
out.
Jewish.
What?
They can
To take-
become Jewish.
Oh, exactly. That was my idea.
Good idea, Max.
Exactly. That was my idea. Was to perhaps invite them to Judaism. But
It's forbidden.
it's forbidden. Why?
Well, we are no missionaries. See?
Right. But yeah, you're right. We don't necessarily pull people in. If someone wants to come, then it's a different story. We're not missionaries. You're right. So
But
that
you can
idea-
say,
No,
but,
it was a joke of you.
it was a joke. But going to the halachics, well, I wasn't trying to say a joke of you. What I was trying to say is, without inviting them, let's say they would decide to become Jewish. Here comes my halachic question. If they decide to become Jewish, is that okay if they already have the mezuzah up?
No, they put it on when they pass to the mikveh.
But it's on already. So they go to the mikveh, become Jewish. And now they come home, there's a mezuzah on the door, which was already sitting there for the last 2 years from the day they bought their house. So I'm asking you a question. If they became Jewish and now they came home from mikveh, would they be obligated to take off the mezuzah and put it on? Or they
No.
could leave it on?
to have to leave it on.
Yeah, but it was put on in a situation, it was on for the last 2 years without any mitzvah. And now they come home from mikvah, there is a mitzvah. Perhaps putting
Then-
on a
Then the mezuzah is doing his work. So they become Jewish.
yeah, but we have an interesting halakha in mezuzah and some other mitzvot that you have to do the mitzvah. There's a mitzvah to put up a mezuzah. If I put the mezuzah on the door, on the frame of the door, and then I fix the frame to the house, then the mitzvah is not done correctly, because the mezuzah was already on the frame, and then I hang the frame onto the door. The mezuzah has to be put onto a frame. So perhaps in this situation where the frame and everything was up, but there was no obligation, that's the same as the mitzvah being done before the chiyuv, before the obligation. So when they come home from mikveh, I would suggest that they would take it off and put it up, because the
Before
last
the mikvah.
no, when they come home from mikveh.
Okay.
They should replace it, not
Because-
put back the same mezuzah, but they should replace it and then make the broche, because you make the broche on likboa.
But what do you mean by replace? But the same mezuzah, not a
No.
different mezuzah.
Listen, I'm here for
new
5 minutes again
mezuzah
and
is
heard the
better than the
discussion.
old one.
I think the whole mezuzah is strijven, because you have to check them 2 times in 7 years. Dus, there's nothing. I think it is strijven, the whole mezuzah.
But that's why you have to replace it, because then when you have
Correct.
a new, it's
Yeah,
checked
you have to
already.
buy, they have to buy a new one.
Yes.
This is the strijven mezuzah.
But if a mezuzah wasn't checked once in
No, it
2 or
wasn't
3
checked.
years, it doesn't mean it becomes strafe. It doesn't mean it's not. If my mezuzah hasn't been checked 2 years, you're supposed
No,
to check it. That doesn't therefore mean that it's strafe.
They should
No,
replace
I do
anyway.
once in 3 years. I bring the to Matti. Good.
Okay, I'm going to stop here at 12:15. Thank you very much, everyone. Keep well, keep healthy, and we'll be in touch. All the best.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Rabba.
Skoye.
Tודה רבה, יום טוב.